Hey, this is Sydney, and let's get through it. It is the astrology of January 7th through the 13th. I record these on the Tuesday before the podcast goes up, and Happy New Year. I have also started an RSS feed that will go to the various podcasts on different platforms if you just want to hear me. And also, I have a new YouTube channel that this is going off of, DD Astrology, though I will do some collab posts with my old account, and hopefully people will transfer over to my only astrology account. Let's hope. Please like and subscribe if you are a fan of me and you want to join me on this journey, if you like taking in astrological content. And what I do here is I talk through the general energies of any given week. I'm in Oakland, California, so my charts are set there, Pacific Standard Time, so you'll have to do some adjustments when I mention a time. You're going to want to adjust for the time that you are. If you have some sort of knowledge of where your chart is, the different placements in your chart, the houses and things like that, I do mention the degrees, so you'll know where things are kind of happening or playing out, the areas of life that things are happening. I do like to go through day by day and just give you a snapshot of the energies that are happening. All of these things are going to be time-stamped, so you'll be able to go through if you want to pick just one day. And also, if you just want to only engage with my content on a day-by-day basis, I do put these things up on TikTok, Instagram, and also Facebook. Okay, that was a lot of housekeeping. I'm over it now. Happy 2026. I really hope that whatever resolutions that you might be setting for yourself, that you feel like you are determined to be able to make those things happen for you in your life. And it's Capricorn season, which is a really, really great time to set intentions for new foundations. Yes, indeed. All right. So let's talk about the key moments for this week. We have a lot going on. Pretty rock and rolling, I think, because we have the heavier, slower planets are going to be making some aspects. It's not just the moon, right? When the moon goes through, it changes signs every 2.5 days, and it just kind of, ping pongs around the solar system. But when we have our weightier planets making aspects, that's usually when we see, I think, more come about around us. So during this week of January 7th to the 13th, we have the moon in Virgo to Sagittarius. So it's going to go through those four signs. As I'm recording this on Tuesday, the moon has just entered Virgo. So, Virgo is very much duty-oriented, service-oriented. It's about health. It is also about analysis. It can be about having anxiety, which way to go. The paralysis of analysis can come up when the moon is in Virgo. But we're very, very determined to, do the work, to get our hands dirty, to do these things. The nice thing about the moon in Virgo for the next 2.5 days is that it's going to be trining all those Capricorn planets. And so I think we are primed to really be laying the foundation to getting all of our intentions and the things that we're trying to set up done. This is a great time for all of that cleanup work that we need to do before the holiday happened, saying, okay, now I'm back to work. This is very much like I'm back to work sort of aspects. Mercury is out of bounds all week. So with that moon in Virgo, the ruler of it is that Mercury in Capricorn. It's like, I am really trying to hold it down. I'm trying to tell you how it is. I'm really trying to make the right intentions for the sort of work that I'm trying to do. Our thought processes are a little bit more serious. We need to remember with Mercury out of bounds and any out of bounds planet that it could be acting abnormally, right? There is a too much, there is a, oh, I didn't know it could act like that sort of thing to it. Because it's outside of the declination of the sun. The sun is no longer holding it there. So Mercury is like, I'm going to go and do what I need to do to set this up for myself. The moon will be out of bounds on Tuesday, January 13th. So that's in a few days. But right now, everything else is in bounds, just Mercury out of bounds. So communications, I think, take more precedent. They're more important than a lot of the other things that are going on. And we know what's going on in the world right now. Information is key. We're all trying to find the right information, the true information, the information that tells us about our future and what's keeping us stable and secure. Okay, day by day, the biggest aspects. On the 7th, my sister's birthday, we're going to have Venus conjunct Mars at 18 degrees Capricorn. On the 9th, we're going to have the Mars Cazimi at 19 degrees Capricorn. We're going to have Venus in Capricorn opposing retrograde Jupiter in Cancer at 20 degrees. We're also going to have Mercury in Capricorn sesqui-square retrograde Uranus in Taurus. On the 10th, we're going to have Sun in Capricorn opposite retrograde Jupiter in Cancer at 20 degrees. Mars in Capricorn opposite retrograde Jupiter in Cancer at 20 degrees. And we're going to get that third quarter moon phase, that crisis of consciousness sort of thing. On the 11th, we're going to get Venus in Capricorn square Chiron in Aries at 22 degrees. And then on the 12th, Sun in Capricorn square Chiron in Aries at 22. And on the 13th, Mars in Capricorn square Chiron in Aries at 22. So we have a lot of action happening within this 18 to 22 range. So if you have any planets that are in those later degrees, we're going to know that some things are going to be kind of lighting up your chart, especially if you have Earth, and especially if you have cardinal placements. So that's going to be Aries, that's going to be Cancer, that's going to be Libra, and that's going to be Capricorn. I think a lot's going on for you, especially if you have those signs rising, because they're more predominant because it's happening in the axis for you. Cool. So those are kind of the big things. Everything else that's happening kind of in behind the scenes is that we do have Pluto in parallel to those planets in Capricorn. So when it is parallel to another planet, it's kind of like a secret conjunction. When they are contraparallel, it's like a secret opposition. So when we have this secret conjunction, I think all that Pluto is doing is really it gives this oomph, it gives this power, it gives this more on a deeper systemic sort of way. It's amplifying those Capricorn planets right now. We still have Pluto and Uranus are in contra Anticia. So we're definitely seeing these, unearthing of new systems, these shocks and surprises are definitely coming up. This is, I think, a time of destabilization. Lots of things need to kind of rumble up from the surface so that we are aware of the systems that are broken, that never served us, never worked for us. And then we will get into a time where these systems will be changing and hopefully new systems will be built in their place. All right, let us get into the charts. So here we are with January 7th, which is Wednesday. Wednesday is Mercury's day. Mercury's out of bounds in Capricorn. Take me serious thought. The sorts of ideas that we're having are about the systems and about our reputation, about industry, about corporation, about our foundations. I think we're thinking very seriously about things. We're making plans. We're trying to initiate plans with the cardinal nature of Capricorn. But all of this is happening behind the scenes, right? Mercury is combust. It's just very close to the sun. So this is all operating, the glare of the sun. And then here is Mercury over here doing its thing. We have, I would say, not bad aspects for today. This day is a day for getting things done. This day is a day for communicating your plans, writing down your plans for the future, for creating that sense of stability and security that you want to do. I think that this is a good day for business. In general, the business that you're trying to make. We do have a little bit of a cranky moment. It's not going to be until the evening with that sesqui-square from the moon to Pluto. This could be some sort of frustration about something that we need to give up in order to do our plans. But all that to say is all of these aspects are really, really nice. The biggest aspect of the day is the one that I'm going to bring up in particular is the Venus conjunct Mars. This is going to happen at 6:43 p.m. at 18 degrees Capricorn. So if it's shooting any sort of rays or aspects, positive aspects, the conjunction, the trine, maybe even the opposition, because Venus is a benefic and Mars is in relatively good condition. We can hope that there's some stability or security and also some passion here, some interesting sort of passion, right? Because Mars has this like determination to get things done, especially in Capricorn. And Mars and Venus conjunct is a passionate aspect. For me, that says the business is good. This is love and war working together. This is negotiations. And this could be behind the scenes negotiations because we have this little situation happening here, especially because we had that Cazimi yesterday, I believe, that it was exact. But on Wednesday at 12 p.m., it's still very, very close. So essentially, all of these planets, Venus and Mars, are Cazimi with the sun, giving it some brilliance, giving it some oomph. I do think that all things around negotiations of territory and boundaries, I think we'll probably see some news about what's going on with the administration and its plans with that Cazimi status. There could be some amplification when we have the conjunction of all these three planets, right? All of their significations blend together and cannot be separated. So this is the general. This is the negotiator. This is the person that is making those sorts of, that is communicating to other people about what the plan is. This conjunction to me says like leadership skills, but also we have this opposition forming from Jupiter, retrograde Jupiter in Cancer, that gives us the caution that this could be too much. So if we're trying to take some sort of, yes, this is what it is, this is the plan, we need to take a beat. And that cardinality does not want to take beats. Like, I know what it is. I'm going to go do it right now. There's a now aspect to this that we need to be very cautious of because Jupiter is amplifying and saying, I don't know, you could go overboard here. You could spend too much money. You could use up too much energy. You could show too much ego here and perhaps make this really, really awkward by doing too much. The Jupiter aspect could bring some sort of blessing, maybe in the ways that we're trying to stabilize and create these new foundations. Jupiter is, sort of trying to bless that with, some ethics and morals, God willing, or God is willing. But the too much aspect is certainly there. I think we're going to try to get a lot done on this day, and we're going to want to be a bit patient. All that to say is there are ways to really, really get shit done. Let's move forward. January 8th, Thursday, is Jupiter's day. Jupiter is currently in its exaltation, but retrograde, allowing us to emotionally intuit internally, to grow our emotional landscape and compass, to find wisdom in our internal emotional sense of security. I think it allows us to really figure out what matters to us. Jupiter wants us to learn. It's about higher wisdom, Jupiter days can be about travel, engaging with other cultures. All of those things can be a part of this. This is also a day of abundance. We have Jupiter in opposition to all of those Capricorn planets that just says energy. This is too much. There's too much going on. So we're going to need to be a bit careful about how we exert our energy and our willpower and our entrepreneurism and how we are determined to get things done because of that. We don't have a tremendous amount of aspects today, though in the morning, we do have some spicy aspects from the moon to Chiron and to Saturn, which could say I'm feeling a bit sensitive and also a bit restrained. Like I'm feeling like you're trying to oppress me. I'm feeling a bit blue about it, a bit glum with the moon opposite Saturn at 9:45 a.m. This can also be like, I have a lot. I have a lot that I'm dealing with and I just got to plow through. So know that once we get into the late morning, 11:49 a.m., we have the moon trine Uranus. I think this is allowing us to emotionally break free from whatever we felt was oppressing us. And we can maybe find some new systems to work with. We can find new ways of feeling here. It's as if the oppression that happened to us allowed us to confront the ways that we're feeling blocked, and then we can move forward. We could be feeling a bit artistic, sensitive, and possibly emotionally overwhelmed when we get the moon opposite Neptune at 3:22 p.m. It's going to happen at 29 degrees. That's an anaretic degree, so I think it's just this flow of feeling happening for us. Allow yourself to cry. The moon is in Virgo. There is some sort of analysis here. I think there needs to be some sort of purge here. Uh, yeah, if you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed at this time, just let it flow and then let it go. Shortly after that, the moon is going to go into Libra at 4:05 p.m. When the moon goes into Libra, we say, I need to connect. I need to communicate and have an exchange of ideas and information with you in order for me to feel good. In order for you to feel good, we're going to try to find, this balance and harmony. Our needs could turn to more aesthetic pleasures, right? We engage with art and beauty and the things that we think are beautiful at this time. But really, I think this is when we are wanting to connect with other people. Turns into it's a relational moon. We're going to hang out in that space, which I like the vibe shift, right? Morning, a bit challenging, late afternoon, a lot better. And then we're able to go deep at 9:46 p.m., moon trine Pluto. I think we are able to communicate in deeper ways. I think we are able to have this emotional understanding of the depth of what we're trying to create. The moon in Libra trine Pluto, the moon in Libra is going to be ruled by that Venus that is in this conjunction cazimi state with the sun and Mars. And so I think the moon in Libra is like, I need us to find the middle here. I need us to find the middle ground. I need us to find an agreement here. What do we need to do? How do we get to the bottom of this to get this done? Moving forward, January 9th is Friday. Friday is Venus's day. Venus days are really good for engaging with pleasure, diplomacy, connection, a day for art and romance and all of those things, but like in a practical way because Venus is in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn is also very, very combust the sun, having already made its cazimi. And so these sorts of actions that we take because of the combustion, because the sun is basically covering and hiding Venus, these sorts of actions could be just for ourselves, the things that we cannot see or other people cannot see or perceive at this time. At 3:41 a.m., we get the cazimi of the sun to Mars. This is fired up, right? The two planets that are heat, right? But this like initiatory, corporal, uh, entrepreneurial, this is what I want, this is what I'm going after right now. There is, I feel, an impulsiveness that comes up, even though it is Capricorn that tends to be a little bit more reserved. But I think this Cazimi says, go. That's going to happen at 19 degrees Capricorn. And I think it's just really oomping, firing up, bringing a passionate initiatory, like this is the thing. This is my security that I'm going after. This is definitely the general, the leader sort of energy going forth and conquering even. 9:34 a.m., we're going to get Venus opposite Jupiter. Too much. Be cautious with your spending today, yesterday, and the day before. Really be cautious of your spending for the next few days too, because this is, that's going to help me move forward. That's the investment that is going to get me through life, right? That's the thing. But Jupiter's like, are you sure about that? Because we can do a lot of that. Do you want to buy all of the shares? Let's not buy all the shares. I don't think. I think that this can feel pleasant, but also there's a too much aspect of this. So caution. We're going to get the moon making some spicy aspects to Mercury and Uranus, 4:33 p.m. and 4:41 p.m. The moon's going to be at 12 Libra. Moon square Mercury, this is just irritated. This is a bit argumentative. And maybe in the way that the moon in Libra needs to find balance and harmony, Mercury in Capricorn is like, it is the way it is, right? And so this can bring up a friction, a little bit of a argument, really. So let's be careful about how we're choosing to express ourselves at this time. We're also with that sesqui square from Uranus or to Uranus from the moon. We could be emotionally a bit erratic or impulsive in ways that are a bit surprising. And so I think these two aspects are really telling us that we need to slow it down. We need to slow down how we are trying to connect with other people because we might take it a little bit too far. The last aspect of the day is 5:32 p.m. We're going to get Mercury sesqui square Uranus. Also, communications, I think, become fraught. There could be things with technology that become fraught, systems doing weird stuff, power outages, kind of things happening, surprising sideways movements of communication, of traffic, of driving. So in the afternoon and evening, we're going to be careful in our cars. We're going to be careful of how we're speaking to other people and how we're trying to connect. January 10th is Saturday, and Saturday is Saturn's day. And for me, what I like about Saturn days is that these are the days that we want to work on the things that are establishing the framework of our life. This is the task day. This is, when you work on the honey-do list. Clean the gutters, work in your garden, touch soil. Saturn is about like tilling the earth, right? This is foundational. So work on the things that help you feel like you have stability and security to stand on. And I know that that is a lot right now in the world that we're living in. This day is a lot. I think it's going to be kind of hard to feel like our feet are firmly planted on the ground. And I think emotionally, we will be potentially really going through it. First of all, the moon is in the path of fire. It's a particularly spicy moon, right? The path of fire in astrology, like in horary astrology, is like you don't want to see a question being asked when the moon is in the path of fire because nothing good will come of it. I'm not saying that nothing good will come of this day, but we are feeling pretty impassioned, pretty fired up, and probably pretty willing to do what we need to do in order to get it done. But we have Mars opposite Jupiter. This could be this is a lot. I think Mars opposite Jupiter can bring an overexertion of will and energy and power and also violence. Um, as much as Jupiter is a good guy in the sky, right? A benefic planet, Mars is danger. Mars is aggression. Mars is will. Mars is war. We might see something popping off at this time that was potentially more covert at first because of Mars being so close to the sun. We can't really quite see the thing that is being carried out at the time that is being carried out. The moon is going to square, here's the moon, is going to square Mars, the sun, and Venus. Relationship issues, power and control dynamics could come up with like maybe authority things, mother-father dynamics, mother-moon, father-son, and also just feeling angry. I think we collectively are really wanting to do something about all of the ways that we are feeling not good at this time. At 12:12 p.m., the moon is going to oppose Chiron. Also, just feeling really sensitive. So this cardinal T-square that's happening, actually, it's a full grand cross, really says go, 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 go. And also with the grand cross, it's being pulled in 4 different directions all at once. And that can never feel very good. I think we've all had that experience when we're like, I need to do that, I need to do that, and that all at once. Which way do I go? It can make for a really fraught time. And I think that today is particularly fraught. In the evening, the moon is going to make adjusting aspects to Saturn and Uranus via quincunx. And this is going to be a yod. A yod is a finger of God. It's very fast though, but it puts that moon in this space of, I need to find the ways to connect with others in balanced ways. Am I able to do that I might have to let something go, and I might also need to make different sorts of adjustments around the framework that has been given to me. This moon is doing a lot today. January 10th feels like a lot. And so if you can take a moment to take a breath, to look at that honey-do list and go, okay, even though I might be feeling emotionally dysregulated, I can still work on my plans and not have those plans impact, other people in negative ways. To me, this day says, keep your eyes on your own paper, because everything else around there is just going to piss you off. Let's move forward. January 11th is the sun's day. Sun is in Capricorn. It's got a lot of visitors right now. The sun days are for creativity, for, power, for standing and basking in light. Days of just being you, right? Identity. The sun is your identity. Working on your soul work. The sun. Just being. That all being said, lots of energy happening with the sun. We have Venus with the sun, we have Mars with the sun, and we also have Mercury with the sun. So we know that there's a lot of Capricornian influence here, trying to establish, this is a reputational place, matters of reputation and finance and entrepreneurship, doing the things you need to do, really become focused here, more serious, really trying to be more grounded. One of the things that I like about when I think about the sun in any natal chart is this is the place that we're growing into. right? So if you are a sun in Capricorn, you are learning through this evolutionary process of being a human how to be Capricorn, doing the business and creating your own boundaries and being an authority, not just for yourself, but just being in authority of yourself, right? Okay, but like, let's move forward. So January 11th, we're going to get at 2:55 a.m. The moon's going to go into Scorpio. Moon doesn't like being in Scorpio. It's in fall here. This is a hyper protective, deep investigative, forensic moon. Our feelings are more intense. They're inward. The experiences I've had with people who have a moon in Scorpio is still waters run deep, passionate, deeply passionate, and you would never know. Not unless you get very close to them, right? So we're going to have a vibe shift, right? We went through outside connecting, probably very cranky because of the aspects of yesterday. And now we're like, I'm feeling some sort of way about it all. We're going to get Venus square Chiron. Relationship issues could be coming up at this time. There's some sort of wounding, sensitivity, hypersensitivity, maybe around the ways that we're trying to establish ourselves in relationship, or maybe we're not getting the care that we need. Maybe we're trying to set up some boundaries in relationships and somebody's overstepping those boundaries. All that to say is Venus square Chiron says there's some relationship sensitivity here that probably needs to be addressed. We're going to feel very emotionally cranky around 9, continuing on, right? So the morning is, I think, a bit rough. We're going to get moon square Pluto. Moon comes up and squares Pluto. This is a fixed sign. It's like it's time to give this up. You have to eliminate feeling really intensely about something. This can feel like a crisis, an emotional crisis, because of whatever you were going through in your relationships, because of whatever pulled you in all of these different directions yesterday. So what we're going to try to remember when we have moon square Pluto is that Pluto is asking us to go deep and then get rid of and eliminate something. So feel the feelings deeply, purge them, let yourself cry, let yourself feel. There's such a sensitivity on this day that after those aspects happen, we really just get this gauntlet of quintiles from the moon to the Capricorn stellium of Mercury, Mars, and the sun, which I like because after we go deep, we're then able to find a place of communication and of determination and of understanding potentially who we are, what we're growing into being. So feel the feelings and also do the work to let them go. Yes. January 12th is Monday. Monday is the moon's day. We have the moon in Scorpio, really feeling some sort of way. Moon in Scorpio feels very deeply, passionately, intensely. Think intense. And today we get some, it's like good news, bad news bears, I think. The morning is going to feel a little bit rough. And then once we get into the afternoon, we're kind of cooking with grease. Let's put it that way. So morning, we're going to get the moon sesqui-square Saturn and Neptune. I think this is going to bring feelings of maybe feeling a little bit depressed, maybe feeling like our intuition's a little bit broken, like our picker is a little bit broken, feeling a little bit blocked and limited in the ways that we want to or we need to go forward. And then we're going to get at 12:13 p.m., we get the sun square Chiron. This is some sort of ego wound, this identity issue, this sensitivity around how we're maybe trying to establish ourselves in this identity of, I am capable, I am establishing, I have good boundaries, I am the business person, I know what to do. And Chiron's like, are you sure about that? So this can just feel a bit rough, out of sorts, not able to shine in the ways that you want. Once we get into the afternoon, the moon starts making these nice aspects. It's going to sextile Mercury. It's going to trine Jupiter. That's going to be a flow of emotions, right? Moon trine Jupiter, water, flow, cry, let it happen. Moon sextile Mercury, communicate. Communicate the ways that you need to stand in your own power. This is how I feel, that sort of thing. There's almost a intellectual intuitiveness that comes across in the evening. Some sort of depth and intensity will come through, but we've already done purgatory things. So we're able to go deep. We're able to deal with deeper taboo topics. At 11:42, last aspect of the day, moon sextile Mars. Unfortunately, it's so late at night. I think it's a great little aspect for sex, honestly. Your drive and passion, you're just wanting to like do all of that. But it's serious. All that to say is that go to bed before that if you don't necessarily have or want anyone to do anything with. Or stay up and enjoy at least that uh, passionate injection into your life. January 13th is Tuesday. Tuesday is Mars's day. We have Mars in Capricorn, the general, the passionate entrepreneur, the go out and get it, do the business deal, do that sort of thing. Mars is very, very close to the sun. I think that the actions that we're taking, and also co-present with Venus, I think Venus is adding some benevolence, some goodness, like, hey, but maybe we do this in a way that is a little bit more congenial or friendly, or maybe we can work in ways that work out for everybody. Venus joins, Mars separates, and the sun burns up. So, but I do think that Venus is trying to help Mars in some sort of way, even from the other side of the sun, going like, hey. um, yeah, so Mars days are doing. Do, right? Feeling pretty passionate about the things that you are trying to get done. On this day, the moon has really good working aspects with most of the planets, with a lot of the planets, and we are going to get a vibe shift in the afternoon. So, ideas I think are flowing. We get the Scorpio moon sextile the sun, we get it sextile Venus. It's like, there's some, it's like dark pleasures, serious pleasures. Feels pretty gothy to me. It's like wearing all black, but having like this beautiful facade of being in control. Feels like vampires to me. Moon trine Saturn. There's a emotional stability that has the potential of showing up for itself. It's a nice aspect. We get emotional surprise, 10:48 a.m. We could be a little bit shocked by something, right? And this could be around the things that we were feeling secure about, we were feeling stable about. Moon opposite Uranus brings an instability of feeling, a disruption of feelings. In the morning, sure, we're doing all right. And then there's some sort of shock. And then Mars square Chiron, 2:33 p.m. This is going to be happening at 22 degrees, Capricorn and Aries. I think we need to be very careful about the actions that we're taking due to the wounding that we hold for ourselves. So when we react out of trauma, I think that this has the potential to have us acting out of trauma and sensitivity. So we want to be careful here. There's an intuitive thing that comes up, Moon trine Neptune, dreamy, intuitive, psychic feeling, engaging with emotions on this oceanic sort of level. If we can be mindful of how we are taking action in the afternoon or during this day, really, because Mars isn't going to move much in the day. I think we can use that trine to really sit inside of those deeper intuitive levels. We have this ability to ask, okay, what is the vision here? How can I engage in maybe more psychic or spiritual ways? Float, right? It's at the 29th degree. We're going to get a vibe shift after the moon goes through Neptune, through the ocean of feeling, and then it's going to shift into Sagittarius at 3:33 p.m. Look at that little angel number. Sagittarius says, I'm free, bitches. I am going off into the distance. She goes for distance. She goes for speed, feeling passionate, wanting freedom, wanting to explore. So it's like after the moon does all of this work in Scorpio of elimination, of feeling deeply and intensely and passionately and having these aspects with all of the Capricorn stuff, really getting the work done. And then the moon's like, I need a break. I gotta go. And then at 9:53 p.m., it's the last aspect that we get. We get the moon sextile Pluto, and it's going to be at 3 degrees. Really setting off that. I think that there's some sort of, I think we're feeling really passionate at this time. I think we are wanting to maybe explore. It's like ethics and systems. When I think about Sag, and then I think about Aquarius, I think about ethics and systems. And at this point, at this moment, perhaps we have the ability to go more deeply into, this is how I ethically want to show up inside of this system and to instigate change. Pluto moon contacts just bring intensity in general. There's a depth here that a Sag moon wouldn't necessarily want to engage in, but Pluto's like, yeah, you got to come down here though. You got to come down here into hell. Let's do it. Let's get real passionate about these things that you are riled up about: justice, ethics, morals, spirituality. This could be, especially with that shift after the moon and Neptune into moon Sag, it's like, I went deep and now I can engage with spirituality in a deeper way because I understand where I came from and now I know where I want to go. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging in, and I hope you're well, and visit my website if you want a reading. Take care. Hey, thank you for listening to today's Astro Weather with me. I'm Sydney. As a reminder, I'm always open to seeing both new and my beloved returning clients. My website is ddAstrology.com. That is D as in dog, D as in dog, astrology.com to check me out, and just click the email buttons in order to schedule with me. If you're into a more conversational feel with your podcast and content, I have a podcast called BS Astrology with my fellow Mercurial Mommy Bender, and we put out episodes every Sunday for the week. Just search BS Astrology on YouTube or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts, including Spotify, Audible, and more. Have a good day.